What's going on? 24, who you got on a call?
We got Charlie 5 out with a subject on 207.
Who's Charlie 5? I'm 10-4. I don't know who that was.
Chesterfield County 911.
Yes, ma'am. There are gunshots right here in my neighborhood just going off down by the high school.
About how many shots did you hear?
It was like back to back. It was like bam, 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 bam. Then it stopped. It was just in a sequence.
Chesterfield County 911.
We've got somebody outside. Sounds like they're shooting right around the TNT store. I mean, it's very rapid fire. There's been about 5 sets of them. Oh, it looks like there's a policeman over there now, so.
There's a policeman over there where the shots were fired?
Yeah.
About how many shots did you hear?
About 5 sets of maybe 7 or 8, something like that. There was at least 40.
Pulling out of my yard that night, it was about maybe at this time 5 after 11.
Jerriell Wright was doing what he did most nights, enforcing traffic laws in McBee. But his decision to work a few more overtime hours this night, last September, nearly ended his life.
Everything felt normal. Even when I turned around and put my lights on them, it was, you shouldn't, but I was treating it as a routine stop.
Wright was working his beat, patrolling Highway 151, where the speed dips from 60 miles an hour on one end to 25 in the center of town.
That was basically my route. As I was coming down, I would turn right there, or sometimes I would go as far as right there at Family Dollar and turn around.
He patrolled the 1 square mile town relentlessly until he set his sights on 27-year-old Alston Maudlin.
Just like that car passing there, we met about right here before 8th Street is where I turned around and put the lights on. A 52 and a 25. And you see the 35 right there. I was speeding up behind him and I saw him turn the signal on, so I went ahead and hit my brakes. And that's where I was expecting him to pull over right here where the buses are, and he didn't. So that kind of raised the red flag.
The traffic stop happened right behind McBee High School. Luckily, it was in the middle of the night.
I had the radio, I had it clipped to my vest, and I didn't call dispatch yet because I was assuming I was about to get in a foot chase the way he just let off his brakes and sped up. That's when I reached over, undid my seatbelt, threw it in park, and before I could even attempt to open the door, first bullets come flying through the windshield.
Jerriell Wright was on the business end of a high-powered rifle and a shooter aiming to kill him.
I got down in the floorboard with my back facing that way as far as I could, and I was kind of leaning over in the seat. I had my hands over my head like that, and then, the thought popped in my head, okay, if a bullet comes through, it'll go right through your hand, through your head. So I grabbed my vest and I pulled it as far over my head as I could get it. I still didn't think that was enough. I just really laid there and waited for it to be over. At some point, I gave up and just kind of leaned further on the seat, and I didn't think I was going to make it out. I really didn't. It's like he was never going to stop shooting. I heard him change clips with the rifle and unload another, and then he switched to the 9mm when he stood by my driver's side window and emptied a clip into the headrest. I could hear all of that.
There is no video of any of this. Wright says he was the McBee Police Force's top ticket producer and says the town wanted him on the road so badly his new patrol car didn't have a dash camera installed yet, and his body camera wasn't yet connected to his blue lights, which means the body cam never auto-activated. Even though dispatchers heard the officer scream for help, no one in the 911 center knew he had anyone pulled over or where he was.
McBee units, are you 10-4? 85, are you 10-4?
Somebody call his phone number, whoever 85 is, call her phone.
10-4.
That's Jerriell Wright, 85.
10-4, we've had gunshots in the area, 11th Street, eastbound Avenue area.
In Patrick, is anybody in Patrick? Everybody shoot towards McBee. Somebody was hollering on the radio. McBee again was dealing with somebody's shots fired, and then somebody got to hollering on the radio.
It took 11 minutes for the first officer to get to Jerriell Wright.
Be advised, we did get a crash detection from 8-5's phone.
During the shooting, a bullet hit Wright's cell phone, activating a crash alert. That alert hit dispatch and Jerriell Wright's family.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. At the tone, please record your message. Cameron.
His family also heard the shots. When the alert went off, his son jumped on the phone and called his father. The call went straight to voicemail. His son never hung up.
Slow down.
This voicemail captured the family's frantic rush to find their father. Jerriell Wright was still squeezed into the floorboard.
And I just laid down, waited to die.
You said you were waiting for it to be over. You don't mean for the shots to stop?
I was not waiting for the shots to stop. I was waiting to die. I kept asking myself, when is the moment going to happen when I know nothing, when I get hit, when all the life is out of my body? That's what I was waiting for. I wasn't waiting for the shots to stop. I did not think I was going to make it out.
You think about those 2 kids and your wife back home?
That thought haunts me. I thought that I would never see them again. I thought that whenever they did see me, it was either in a body bag being removed from the car or on a table in the morgue.
You had time to think of that?
I thought about all of that.
Wright does remember just how quiet it was after Alston Modelin's 62 shots ended.
What was the first thing you heard?
The car door opened, and I can't even describe the feeling because at first, when I heard it open, I thought it was him going to finish me off. But it was my son, and he yelled out, "Dad, no. Dad, no." I was laying there motionless, covered in blood. Why would you not think that I was dead? My son runs one way and collapses, and my daughter runs the other and collapses.
The voicemail recording captured the family's horror when his children got to the patrol car. Wright was balled up in the floorboard with blood pouring from the back of his head. His children's screams lasted for more than a minute.
I look up, my wife is there looking at me. She jerked me out, and I'm standing up and I'm looking around and making sure his truck is not there anymore. And I kind of felt relief, and then it went away because just because his truck was not there doesn't mean he wasn't somewhere else. I remember finally getting my kids' attention and them seeing me up and walking, letting them know that I'm here. I'm still here.
The bullet holes in Wright's patrol car show the shooter's path. He first fired into the driver's side windshield, circled the Charger, firing as he stepped. Nearly every shot aimed right for the spot where Officer Wright's head should have been. The car might tell what happened, but it doesn't explain how Jerriell Wright survived this.
I was hit 4 or 5 times out of 62 rounds. He was a bad shot. I was lucky as hell, one or the other.
Wright says he truly would have rather died if it meant his family wouldn't have to live with what they saw that night.
I could live easier with the fact that I was shot than what they had to see.
How's that?
They're scarred for life. If other law enforcement were there before them and I was able to get out of that car, then they saw me, yes, that's still bad because I was still, but they would have known. Dad's okay, husband's okay. But for them to get there and to see me motionless, thinking I was dead, that is terrible. And you can't take that back. that's going to be with them for the rest of their lives. If they live to be 150, they will never forget that.
Wright doesn't know how long the shooting lasted, but it took the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division about 10 hours to issue a blue alert, an alert putting the public and other law enforcement on notice that an armed and dangerous attempted cop killer was on the loose. SLED sent the alert as cops were in a shootout with Maudlin in nearby Lee County. He fired into this Lee County deputy's patrol unit, setting it on fire. A police dog named Mika burned to death inside. In Alston Maudlin, investigators say he ran into this cornfield, put a gun to his head, and took his own life.
This is where a bullet come in, one of the first ones that come in the windshield.
Although Jerriell Wright survived the shooting, he did not make it out unscathed.
It grazed me, I think, right here.
He was hit at least 4 times, not counting the mental injuries he and his family continue living with, or what he calls the hell he lived with since the shooting, from the people he says promised to take care of him. Coming up tonight at 10 on Queen City News.
My goal every day was to write as many tickets as I can, because that's what I was told to do, basically. So if you go out and write 30, they want 40. If you go out and write 40, 50. One day I wrote 67. Then the next day you can get 70 today.
Is that what he would say to you?
Yes, 93 tickets in a 3-day period. Pretty good if you ask me.
Is this about public safety in McBee, or is it policing for profit?
When you can get 10 a day, that's what we want.
Does that not sound like a quota to you?
It definitely sounds like one to me, yes.
Did you ever have a conversation of, man, are you ready? 60 plus times shot out, are you mentally ready? Did you ever have that conversation to try to understand and maybe step back for a minute and say, man, how would I feel if I were him?
On your feet. Center. Peace.
Last January, Jerriell Wright became a sworn law enforcement officer.
Jerriell S. Wright, McBee Police Department.
Graduating from the state's police academy and ready to hit the streets of McBee. But 8 months to the day, he nearly lost his life in a hell of gunfire from a man he stopped for speeding.
So I reached over, undid my seatbelt, same motion, put the car in park, and before I could get my hand to the handle to open the door, you know, I hear the shots, and my hat is hit, obviously. This is where a bullet come in, one of the first ones that come in the windshield. I do remember seeing 3 bullet holes in the beginning.
Somehow, Officer Wright survived 62 shots fired at his patrol car last September. He slid down into the floorboard, pulled his bulletproof vest over his head, and lived to hear the shots end and his family pulling him out of his destroyed patrol car.
This is the shirt that I was wearing on that night. These other little holes up here is fragments and whatnot flying around. This hole represents the shot that I took in the forearm. The swelling has went down. This is where I took the 2 shots in the side, and you can see the stain around the holes, which could only be from blood. That is where a bullet grazed the back of my head during the shooting. This is where I took 2 in the side.
Jerriell Wright grew up in McBee and graduated a proud McBee Panther.
Jerriell S. Wright, McBee Police Department.
Wright says he quickly found out what the men running the town of McBee wanted from him: to write all the speeding tickets humanly possible.
You were in communication with the mayor a lot during the time you were a police officer in that town, right?
Yes.
The mayor was well aware, it appears through text messages, of what your ticket production was in a day, where you were. You say you show up on police stops sometimes too. What did you think about that constant communication with him about what you were doing while you were on the clock?
It was annoying, it was aggravating, but I felt I had to do it because it was the mayor.
McBee is a small town of around 800 people. It has 1 stoplight at the intersection of Highways 1 and 151. It's the main pass-through between Charlotte and the beach. The speed limit coming in from Charlotte drops from 60 to 25. Wright says he had no problem finding speeders, and he could do it easily, all day, every day. He also says the day McBee hired him, Mayor Glenn Odom told him in a meeting with then Chief Mike Irvin exactly what the town expected of him.
And what did they tell you when you sat down for the meeting of, hey, you're hired, here's what we expect?
10 a day is what they wanted, 10 tickets per day. They told me you can sit at this corner and write a few, you can go at this corner and write a few. He said you can go at each end of McBee and write a few, and you can get 10 a day. That's what we want.
And what would that 10 cover?
My job, I guess.
Does that not sound like a quota to you?
It definitely sounds like one to me, yes.
If that is a quota in McBee, it would be illegal in South Carolina. State Code 23-1245 states a law enforcement agency may not require a law enforcement officer to issue a specific amount or meet a quota for the number of citations he issues during a designated period of time.
Outside people can come in here with their opinions, but we represent McBee, so I'll leave it at that.
Wright provided us written proof of the mayor's involvement in his daily policing, dozens of text messages over his 8 months on patrol. The messages show the mayor asking for daily ticket totals, even telling the officer how much to fine a man he'd arrested for shoplifting. Heading to the jail, be back soon, Wright told the mayor. Driving under suspension, the mayor asked. Shoplifting and trespassing, Wright responded. Write $1,000 on shoplifting, Mayor Odom ordered. This June 22nd text shows that previous case was not the first time the mayor involved himself in a fine amount for a shoplifter in McBee. And one night, Wright was investigating a theft case here. Are you working, the mayor asked. At Subway, dealing with a possible debit card theft, Wright responded. Tell them come back Monday. You got tickets to write. Text records also show the mayor didn't like it when he saw a state trooper writing tickets in his town. Don't let the trooper steal any more of your customers, the mayor texted. He's already gotten 3 from me, Wright responded. All that open road and he wants to work in town. He had a flat tire, hope he has another. I stopped and asked if he needed help. He was a snotty ass, the mayor wrote. The messages also showed the mayor complaining multiple times about McBee Police Captain Greg Block's lack of ticket production. Go home and get cool and lay down. Let Block work. He'll get 2 or 3. He got 5 last week, the mayor told Wright. I think we broke even last week. I was going to tell the chief we need some tickets this week. Round out the month. A few days later, how many today, the mayor asked Wright. 33 with 12 440s. You the man, the mayor responded. The 440s refer to traffic charges with $440 fine amounts. Did you do any good today, the mayor asked on September 1st. Yes, sir, 33 with 12 440s so far. That's what you got yesterday, the mayor replied. Wright updated the mayor a few hours later. 37 440s for the weekend and 49 for the entire week. Go to bed. You keeping the whole department operating, the mayor responded. And another, days later, did Block show up? He probably has 10 or 12 so far, Wright responded. I asked Block about the mayor's comments. He sent us a statement explaining the mayor didn't know the full scope of his police duties at the time.
All in favor, aye.
And that the mayor has since stopped criticizing him. Wright says the mayor would call, text, and even show up on traffic stops nearly every shift.
Why was he so interested in that?
Ticket count, more tickets, more money. That's all I could figure. I mean, he called me his cash cow.
Cash cow?
Yes.
What did that mean?
I brought in all the money. I wrote more tickets than anyone else, so.
Did you feel like that's what you were becoming to the town of McBee? A revenue stream?
I didn't think of it that way until that comment.
What did you think when he called you that?
I kind of laughed it off, and then, did he actually just say that? I'm like, okay, so that's all I'm worth, bringing in money.
Wright told us Mayor Glenn Odom wanted one thing out of his officers, maximum tickets and maximum fine amounts. He showed us another text he says proves it. You working, they flying, the mayor asked. 20 already, working on 2 to 3 right now. Having to tow another vehicle, but 5 tickets from this one, Wright responded. Mexican, the mayor asked. Of course, Wright responded. Will he pay at town hall, the mayor asked Wright. I'll tell him he can come pay or go to jail. Yep, problem is we lose money if you take him to jail for 2 hours. The mayor told Wright to call in the town clerk to take the driver's bond money, and the mayor would pay her for 2 hours of work. Wright says this happened long after town hall closed.
But I continued to do it because I think I was pretty good at the job and I enjoyed it. I lived in that town pretty much my whole life. I knew quite a few people in the town, and I enjoyed being able to serve and protect that town.
Did it eat at you over time?
It did, because if you go out and write 30 tickets, they want 40. If you go out and write 40, 50. One day I wrote 67. Then the next day you can get 70 today.
Is that what he would say to you?
Yes.
Wright had yet another text to prove that. How many now, the mayor asked. 50, Wright responded. Is 70 possible? I believe so, Wright told the mayor.
And here is my ticket count that I kept on a daily. I got to the point where I felt like I needed to because I was questioned quite often during the day. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, you see the ticket count. I had 12 that Wednesday, 31 Friday, 36 Saturday, 26 Sunday. I had 23 on Wednesday, and on September the 19th, the night that I got shot, I had 45. And that's the last one. I've not written a ticket since that day, of course.
The evidence of McBee's ticket production is evident anytime the town holds traffic court. So many cases, McBee can't fit them all inside the town's courtroom. And inside, drivers are herded into lines like cattle.
This is ridiculous.
When we showed up for court last month, what does it seem like's going on out here?
I mean, to me, it seems like any chance they can get to make a buck makes you want to not come through this area.
Although the lines were shorter than the ones for court during summer travel season, people like Damon Hilton stood in line for hours. So how long have you been in this line?
Since 1:50.
What time is it now?
2:20.
30 minutes. All over a $25 seatbelt ticket. Inside the courtroom, I watched as drivers negotiated directly with officers, and very few ever saw the judge. They line up for the clerk's window to pay whatever fine and charge they work out with the cops. In several cases we found, instead of charging a point violation where the town has to split the fine with the state, McBee converts the ticket to a different charge, like a seatbelt ticket, where the town keeps all the money.
An ordinance to protect the public of the town of McBee, South Carolina, and enact the town of McBee Ordinance 14.415.
McBee's mayor and council found a way to keep every dollar of its traffic fines. In February, council passed a careless operation ordinance.
We needed this to give the chief and the officers another tool in their toolbox of enforcing traffic in McBee.
By charging under the ordinance instead of the state's traffic code, the town can now negotiate $180 fines and no license points and not have to send a single cent to the state. This citation shows the town's already issuing these tickets. And traffic court is big business here. We asked the state for total citations for 2023 and 2024 for towns along Highway 151, Pageland, McBee, and Hartsville. Pageland and Hartsville reported more than 2,000 tickets in 2023. McBee nearly doubled those cities with 4,300 tickets. In 2024, no one along 151 came close to McBee's totals. 4,000 tickets in Pageland, 3,000 in Hartsville, and McBee wrote 12,000 tickets with far fewer cops than both of those other two cities. McBee's ticket total was almost as high as the state's capital city police force. During that time, McBee's leaders confirmed the town collected more than $1.2 million in fines and assessments.
This council meeting was when?
September 25th, I believe is the date. This September 2024 council meeting appeared to back up Wright's claims of his cash cow nickname. Council was discussing how they were going to come up with a monthly payment on a loan for new police cars.
Charlie, that's 5 speeding tickets. 5 speeding tickets. Make sure you pay for it. Jerriell do that in 30 minutes. We got to get him back on the job.
This meeting happened less than a week after Wright was shot. while he still had fragments inside his body.
Just looking at him just pissing me off right now. 5 tickets in 30 minutes I can do, so we got to get me back on the road. Wow. That shows the care or lack thereof. That's all he cared about. That's all. Hey, and that goes back to that cash cow comment. Jerriell can write that in 30 minutes.
When you hear that comment from the mayor, what would you tell him right now?
You really want to know?
Sure.
I would tell him to kiss my ass and go to hell.
Coming up, have you ever called Jerriell Wright a cash cow?
No,
You never said that on the phone?
This is what they are about to get, and hopefully this will be my last trip inside this department.
When Officer Down continues after this. All right, we're rolling into McBee. Make sure we're doing the speed limit here. We are here today trying to find McBee Mayor Glenn Odom ahead of tonight's council meeting. That white Dodge right there is the mayor's truck. So he's in town. I asked McBee Mayor Glenn Odom to schedule an interview to talk about the officer's claims last month. The mayor did not respond. We found the mayor at Town Hall before the March council meeting. I want to talk to you about this situation with Jerriell Wright.
Okay.
Have you ever called Jerriell Wright a cash cow?
No, not.
You never said that on the phone?
I really don't remember, but he brought cash into the town of McBee, but he also brought a bunch of money to the state in assessments. He was a hard worker, worked like a dog. Nobody could ask for a better officer. The mayor told me he took care of Officer Wright before the shooting, taking him food on duty, and once loaned him money. Are you running a ticket quota system in this town? No, sir.
You've never had a conversation with your former chief, with any officer you've hired?
No, sir.
That you require 10 a day minimum tickets in this town?
No, what we discussed was if they wrote 10 tickets a day, it pretty well covered the pay for the salary and the gas. It's just a target to shoot for, try to work the road to get 10, but you can't have a quota on anything and like that. It's just a general statement that, get out there and work or whatever, but most of these officers are writing more than 10 a day, but nobody's ever been written up or run off if they don't do 10 a day. I mean, we got officers that are writing 2 a day, but they're doing a good job of riding around.
So are you saying if Jerriell Wright says that he was told by sitting in when he got hired with Mike Irvin and you present in the office that we require 10 a day minimum, that was never said?
Again, he was hired a couple of years ago. I've never told Jerriell he had to write 10 a day. Some days he wrote 30 or 40. But I used to talk to Jerriell, and like Jerriell told me, he loved it. There again, I stand on, there's no quota. Robbie Lyles, he's over the police department. We have no quota.
They're doing everything they do to stop terrible things from happening in this town.
Robbie Lyles is a McBee town councilman. Once inside the council meeting, the mayor continued arguing against the quota allegation.
But again, for the record, Chief, do we have a quota that they get to do 10 a day?
Like 25 cents? No, sir.
McBee Police Chief Timmy Knight went on and laid out what sounded a lot like issuing an expectation of a certain number of tickets within a predetermined amount of time.
Discussion is, if you do 10 tickets a day, we pretty well break even. But
you work 12 hours. Is it too much to ask for a ticket an hour?
Why were you so interested in the daily real-time numbers of these officers?
Because McBee is essentially a business, and we have to pay so much in state assessments that, you just have to keep up with what's coming and what's going. I do the same thing with the water system. I do the same thing with the tax system. I mean, it's like running a business. I mean, you got to know what's going on.
So how much did you remit to the state last year, the town of McBee?
I can't tell you the figures right off, but
what was the figure you gave at the mayor's meeting last month?
Over
$1 million?
And,
That sound right?
Wasn't a year, it was 17 months.
17 months.
Yeah.
In an 18-month period.
How much did the town retain out of that?
If they got $1 million, then we probably got somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 over 18 months. But there again, that went to pay the officers and pay for the benefits, and state benefits and all pretty expensive now, retirement, and of course we have automobiles to pay for and maintenance and that type thing.
The mayor says Jerriell Wright's claims he was thrown away aren't true.
And if Jerriell Wright says that when he became useless to you all as a town and he didn't get back to work in the 2-week window or whenever you thought he should have come back, that he felt like he was thrown away like trash, what would you say to that?
I never had an opinion on when he needed to come back. My personal opinion, if I was shot at 60 times and hit 4 times, I wouldn't have wanted to come back. And no, we never threw him away.
Jerriell could write those 5 tickets in 30 minutes. We got to get him back out on the road. Wow.
In the meeting, it was less than a week after he was shot when you all voted to give him that $5,000. You also made a comment in that meeting. You said Jerriell Wright could do that in 30 minutes, and that's why you need him back here.
Well, that's just hyperbole and joking.
Wright says although Chief Timmy Knight and the mayor stopped talking to him following the shooting, Lieutenant Block did stay in touch. One of those Block visits, Wright says, came with a warning from the mayor.
Did Lieutenant Block give you an indication that, listen, you either get back to work or your time may be running out?
His words were, Glenn wants to know by the end of the day, 5 o'clock, if you're planning to come back to the department whenever you're cleared. If not, he's probably going to terminate you.
At the time of that visit, Wright wasn't medically cleared for duty.
Do you believe that you could get back behind the wheel of a police car and make a traffic stop at this point?
At this point, no, I do not.
In January, we went with Wright to his psychologist's office for an evaluation to find out if he was cleared to get back to work.
What was the news?
Well, it wasn't good. Not cleared.
What's your biggest fear about having to deliver this news to McBee?
Of course, losing my job, losing my insurance. That's the biggest fear. As I mentioned earlier, I've already been threatened with termination if I did not agree to come back to the department when and if I was cleared.
No income and no insurance coverage.
No income, no insurance, shot on the job, thrown away like trash.
Yeah, I think at least in his case, it was the constant daily contacts with you, the multiple times a day of text messages, asking where he was on ticket counts, the constant driving. 30 wasn't good enough, 40 wasn't either, 50. And then I think, at least from what I've been told, the comment of cash cow was maybe a step too far, that this man felt like a tool for this town. And
well, there again, I'm sorry for what he feels like and how he interpreted things.
But cash cow, you don't remember saying that?
No, I don't.
Thank you. If you had a chance to sit down in here today with Glenn Odom, face to face, what would you tell him?
I would not. There was a time when I wanted to talk with him, when I felt I needed to, but now, from the bottom of my heart, I have no desire, no desire, no desire. I was shot, and you can't check on me. When you finally start messaging me after you find out you're not getting sued, not once do you ask how I'm doing. You don't know what I got going on mentally, and you could be ready to throw a loose cannon back out on the streets with a gun. That's all they care about, the damn tickets. Everyone needs to know the truth, and this here will let everyone know the truth. I'm about to turn to my equipment. This is their taser. Their handcuffs are in here. Yep. The vest, my ID, and the keys to the town hall / police department. So this is what they are about to get, and hopefully this will be my last trip inside this department.
Going to resign.
Going to resign on January 28th, 29th, whatever the day is.
Jerriell Wright walked into McBee Town Hall on January 29th. Turned in all his equipment. When he walked out, he had officially ended his tenure in McBee and likely walked away from his law enforcement career. Although the shooter, Alston Modlin, died, now more than 6 months later, SLED says its investigation into the McBee shooting is not finished. And why Modlin tried to kill Jerriell Wright on that traffic stop, perhaps SLED's investigation will answer that question one day. The good news for Officer Wright, he's found a job in the private sector and says he doesn't think he'll return to law enforcement ever again. But if he does, he told me, he'll never work for the current administration in McBee.